Hello there, fellow expats. Welcome to Expats Toolkit, your guide to all the resources of how to move and live abroad. In today's episode, we're going to dive into the crucial topics of understanding how to navigate the laws and regulations in your new foreign country. I will provide you with a checklist of how to stay safe when living abroad. And this checklist just kind of gives you some general information of what to be aware of and what you should know for your own safety's sake. Whether you're a seasoned traveler or you're getting ready to move to a new country, I want to provide you with the tips you are going to need to be safe and enjoy your experience living abroad. So let's get started. Before you get even your bags packed, first thing you need to do is do your research and find out what is the safety level of that country. You can go to their governmental websites, you can ask in expat groups. All of these different places will provide you with some good information about the safety within that country. Now, granted, all countries have the same problems. Purse snatching. When we were in Portugal, they had a lot of telephones being stolen. Pickpocket is a very common one I see all the time. And just be aware that those things do exist. And so don't go there thinking, oh, I'm going to another country, so this is not going to happen to me. Always verify all the information that you see on social media. One person's experience isn't the generalization of the entire country. These are things that you need to be aware of when you're looking at moving to a new country or visiting it. Always look at more than one source. The governmental website is a very good place to start, but I wouldn't say if that country is on red alert, you really need to look into what that alert is pertaining to. For example, here in Turkey, if you go to the east border of Turkey, which is on the Syrian border, yes, it's not a safe place to be because obviously there's a lot of war issues going on. And so you don't want to be in that area. The overall gist of that country you're going to find is fairly safe. I would say here where I live in Antalya, Turkey, there is really no big problems. Consider consulting with legal professionals or immigrant services to gain an insight to specific legal consideration that might apply to that country. This is critical for the complex matters like residency and work permits. When we looked at living here in Turkey, we sought out a service that handled all of our residency permit requirements. And with that service, we asked for information regarding what were our rights, how does the country operate as far as legal system goes, something bad happens, what is the process? And so they are a great resource to get information. Familiarize yourself with the cultural norms and practices, as these will be a factor in your day-to-day life of functioning and how they handle their behavior and the laws within that country. It might be acceptable behavior in one culture, but not acceptable in another. For example, can women own property? Are married gay couples allowed to show their affection in public? These are some things that you need to investigate if they pertain to you. I have made a video all about how to navigate cultural norms and differences. There's a link below if you're interested, and it gives you some more guidance how to adapt once you plan to live in that country. On that video, I've also provided a guided checklist that you can download as well. This will help you in that process. If the local language is different than your home language, then you're probably going to want to seek out a language assistant or a translator. This is going to be important for you to navigate a lot of the documents that are required for you to sign, and therefore you really need to know what the documents say. Sometimes things get caught in translation, and so for someone to really know your language to explain to you what it means is very helpful. I would highly recommend that you be aware of emergency assistance services. For example, if you get in a car accident, Who do you call? What is the police phone number? What is the EMS or emergency phone number? If you have a water line break, who do you call? These are important things to gather information as you navigate into living abroad, because you never know when those things could happen, that you need that phone number. When we had the major earthquake here, it was nice to have a contact phone number in the government to be aware of anything that was coming about. It's important to stay informed about what is going on in your country while you're living there. We not only have expats that are all talking about it, we have Turkish friends that tell us, but we also like to stay informed by joining local governmental websites. Most of them have social media pages, and every time something happens, they post it on their social media page. And that is very helpful to keep you aware of what is going on. It's also important for you to register with your authorities. I have registered with our embassy. That way, if we need to be notified of evacuating or whatever the reason may be, they know where to find us. We are also registered with the city government here as well, so we have a tax ID number. That also is beneficial for a variety of other things that go on in the city. But these are important things that you need to find out. Where should I register? Who needs to know where I'm at? That way, if something happens, they can contact you. If you plan to drive, obviously you're going to have to know traffic laws. Granted, most of us already drive in our home countries, therefore we know how to drive based on the rules that apply to us. But not all countries have the same traffic laws. For example, in England, many roundabouts. The process of getting on and off those roundabouts, there's a technique to it, and you can actually get a ticket for exiting or entering it wrong. Here in Turkey, they have a lot of unusual traffic signs that you're like, oh, what does that mean? I see here often, even though the light is red, people go on red. So understanding your traffic laws and how they function within that country is vital. Just a quick reminder, please join our Expat Toolkit group by subscribing, and you will be getting a notification with a bell anytime I post a new video about moving and living abroad. Now that we've covered information about how to navigate the laws within the country, we're going to talk about how to stay safe. And this is an important piece of it. Don't assume that everything is the same and functions the same from where you came from. Be mindful of your belongings. Even though you hang your purse on the back of your chair, or your wallet is in your pocket, or your camera's just sitting on the table next to you, be aware of your setup. Because let me tell you, in Portugal, the notorious thing was to swipe a cell phone that was sitting on the table. If you're carrying a backpack, know that all those zippers that are facing outward are available for whoever's walking behind you to unzip. When I traveled to Portugal, I made sure that I had a clothespin that would go through the zipper handle, make it very difficult for them to unzip. And it also kind of gives them the warning sign of don't bother. Know your safe areas to go in. There's certain areas in every city that is just not safe to travel. Know what those are. Don't go into those areas, especially if you are not from that country. It is best to stay away. You don't want to put yourself in a situation and it's just all so unnecessary. Use reputable transportation service. Taxis are good. Ubers are obviously very popular in some places, but be aware that sometimes Ubers may not be what they are. We were told in Budapest there's a certain way to look to see if it is an actual taxi service. So know what those cues are, be aware of them, and don't deviate from that. Stay informed of health risks. If there's a virus going around, obviously during COVID, that was a big thing. But be aware of those scenarios. What are the symptoms? Because if you're in an environment where there are a lot of health issues going on, you are most likely going to catch that same virus or be susceptible to it. So you want to be cautious of health risk within that country. Oh, the one I hate the most is beware of scams. There's always a scammer somewhere out there trying to sell you one thing and they deliver on something else. When you're in a foreign country, you're at their mercy and they've scammed you. What are you going to do? Because their laws and your laws are all very different. Beware. Try to blend in. That's the easiest way to get about in a foreign country. Although that can be hard at some times because, like myself, when I first moved here, I had blonde hair. I'm very tall, very white. And so it's a little difficult to blend in, but don't stand out. Don't make yourself a target, okay? Try to fit in like the locals do. Just try to blend in. That's the best thing you can do. Stay connected to expats. They're going to be your safety net while living abroad, or if you're in the transition mode, they're the great resources for understanding ways to go about handling situations. And they're also very helpful if you're in a bad situation, they can come and help you. Trust your instincts. That's the best judgment a lot of times. And if it doesn't feel right, or if you feel uncomfortable, you need to get away from that situation or call for help. Listen to your instincts. Create a safety plan. I can't stress this enough. You know, I live here in Turkey and we frequently have earthquakes. And last year we had a severe earthquake about 8 hours away from here. And it got me to thinking, you know, what do we do if we have an earthquake here? I started kind of putting things together, doing some research. We have 2 big earthquake bags. If we have to evacuate, it has some basic supplies in it, but just be prepared. Know your country's serious weather conditions. Maybe it's heavy snow and the electricity goes out. What is your plan to deal with that? Know what those situations could be like. We need to have a plan in place, and so that's what everyone should do. Well, there you have it, a comprehensive guide of how to navigate the laws in your country, as well as some safety tips and safety guidelines to consider when living abroad. If you found this information helpful, I hope that you will click the link below to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. I encourage you to share this video with your friends or anyone that you think might be considering moving abroad. In the description box, I've provided you with a link. Download the information we've talked about today. I appreciate you joining me today on this conversation. No, it's not the most exciting thing, but it is an important part of living abroad. And I hope you continue to watch more of my videos, and thank you again. Have a wonderful day.